Hi, everybody, and welcome to Two Tarts on a Journey. And hi, Liz, how are you?
I'm well. Good morning, Margaret. Morning,
Good
Susan.
morning. A little bit chilly down there.
It's a little bit chilly, but the sun's shining, so we might get some warmth soon.
That's awesome. Well, we're up on the beautiful Gold Coast and the sun's coming out, which is really great. And our beautiful guest today is Susanne Ridophi, who I've been really looking forward to getting on this podcast as our guest, because as part of our Wise Women series, Susanne is one of the most. Sorry, Susanne, I don't even know how to describe you, but I did make a list.
That's a challenge, isn't it?
Yeah. Yes. Good morning.
How are you? Hi, Liz.
Hello.
It's so nice to meet you. It's the first time, right?
It is, yes. I have been following you on Facebook, but yes, I have not met you in person.
That's when I said I go now. That's a scary statement.
Awesome. So I was playing around this morning and I thought, okay, I held you in my mind and thought, okay, what do I think of when I think of Susanne? And I came up with dynamic, because you are incredibly dynamic, diverse, because you can never keep track of what you do, disciplined, dedicated, determined, disruptive. And that's how I first met you, as you were the host and facilitator of Female Disruptors, a beautiful networking group. So I really wanted to get down to the nitty-gritty with you, because you've just never seemed to have stopped. You were born in Sweden.
Very true. Yep.
Yes, yeah.
I come with an accent.
Yes.
I say to people, if you don't understand what I'm saying, it's because I speak Swinglish. It usually happens when I get excited. I just make up words.
Yeah, why not? I make up words too, and I only speak one language. So you're an author. I knew you were an author of My Body and Me, which kind of quantifies what you do, which is a wellbeing. I have to say, expert. You're
Thank you.
Amazing fitness fanatic. I think you were a gymnast when
I
you
was.
were little.
Yeah, my
You're
parents
still a
put me.
gymnast. My
I was
God.
still a gym. Someone said I was doing cartwheel on the beach the other day. So
I
I still can
saw.
do them. Yeah, my parents put me in acrobatics when I was 5, probably
Wow.
to run off some of all that energy that make me as a little girl. And then I started gymnastic at the age of 7. So
Okay.
yeah, I did cartwheels when I was 7, and I still do cartwheels when I am 17. Not as many,
Well, I saw you doing
but
some
they
the other
look
day.
pretty good.
But
I impressed a few people.
also, I watched you online doing Pilates. Incredible. I mean, you've got a body of a 12-year-old. You've got this amazing, incredible body, but it's wonderful. So you've also written a book, Shiatsu, and another one, Shiatsu for Women. So you're obviously an amazing Shiatsu practitioner, which you and your husband are both.
Yeah.
Far out. That's kind of, yeah, that's enough. But no. And now you are a co-leader, co-founder of an amazing company, WOW, which is an acronym for Women of Wisdom, a collaborative collective for women, by women. And you are taking you are taking business for women into a whole new space, and that's globally. Very, very impressive. Liz, I went to their launch, their pre-launch last week, and really, really impressive. You know, what they're doing, what these women, the three women, are doing for women in business is taking them beyond where they've ever been, and it's incredible. And blitzing models for men, the business models for men, but bringing in all of those beautiful beautiful values that women carry and need. So anyway, I'm gonna flip over now. What drives you, Susanne?
Yeah, it's a good question, isn't it? What drives me when it comes, I've been in this, I would say, the wellness industry all my life. As I said, I started off and been working on my own health and well-being very in the beginning, I think unconsciously. I think when we are, well, I can only speak for myself. When you are in the early stages of life and your early 20s, you know, you think you're going to live forever, which I thought as well. And you go and do the craziest things. But I started off in the fitness industry, and I think I was a fitness. No, I don't think I was a fitness freak. And I spent 2 years over in New York. I lived in Manhattan for 2 years and came there as a PE teacher and turned into a personal trainer. And I was working in spaces like, what is it called now? It's not Fitness First anymore. So those kinds of health spas or fitness spas. And this one was called the New York Health and Racket Club. And coming from Sweden, that didn't exist in Sweden, but they were, you know, like Fitness First. What is it called now? It's not Fitness First. They have another name. Anywho, so I worked in there, and that was during Jane Fonda's time. So that was me leading class in a la Jane Fonda with headbands and leg warmers and leotards on.
Excellent.
Lots of fun, but you know,
Yep.
15 of those classes per week, plus then I decided to run a marathon on top of that. So yes, I ran the New York Marathon, and my body didn't like that. So that's when it turned into realizing that wellness and living well into the future is more than just fitness. And I started to realize the mind, body, spirit connection as well. So I studied Chinese medicine, and that's when I started my shiatsu. Margaret, it started in New York.
Wow.
Came back to Sweden and finalized my my studies in shiatsu actually down in Switzerland in the mountains. I did my final course. So what drives me? We live in a world that is not well. And there is work to be done. And as long as I can support, inspire, and be of service to some people, and I work mostly with women because I think women, you know, they all deserve to reclaim our health and our well-being and live well into the future and access that full potential that we want to have. So that is my driving force well, I believe I still have something to give to this world in forms of supporting people to get to that point where they can make the most out of their lives. So for me, when it comes to live a long and well life, it's, you know, you can add hours to your life, and in today's world, the medical profession helps us with that. But what kind of life is that? So, you know, rather than just adding hours to your life, it's adding life to those hours that we have. So if I can decide when I want to go rather than somebody else deciding when I'm going or an illness deciding when I'm going, that's what I would prefer. And that's what I'm aiming for. So supporting people to live well into the future and well-being, living with the health and the well-being that you want, so you can do the things that you would like to do in life, but also live well into the future, sustainable wealth into the future. So when you decide to go, you decide to go being well and healthy.
Yeah,
Does that make sense?
Yeah, I love that you said, adding life to the hours that we have. I really love that. So
Yeah.
if you could have a message for just for women who are, at that retiring age, but I was like, and I mean, I know I work with a lot of women, and I know a lot of women who are so looking forward to giving up work, doing nothing, and which is fine. And I know what will happen, what happens with people when they suddenly kind of faced with doing nothing. But what message do you have to women who are around that, thinking about retiring?
Somebody asked me, I said, what do you want to do? And I said, oh, well, I could just retire, as you call it, and chill back and do nothing. And this person then asked me, would that be fulfilling? And I said, no, probably not. When you do what you love and love what you do, it doesn't feel like work, if you like. So, it's my vision and my mission. So, really tuning in to, we're all spiritual beings having a human experience. And we decided to choose this body that we have to have that human experience on this planet Earth. So when I coach people, I really ask them, what do you want? What is it you really would like? So if you call it whatever, if you call it retirement and you kick out the work, what is the next step for you? What is it you really would like?
Yeah.
Now being 70, and I look, it's different to look 15 years into the future when you're 70 than when you look 15 years into the future when you're 20.
Yes.
So, going to 35 or going to 85. So it's really defining what is it that I really want deep in my heart. And how can I create that?
Yes.
Because in my world, everything is possible. They said impossible turns to impossible. So everything is possible if you really want it. And then is to dedicate your actions towards that.
But wouldn't it be lovely? I was just going to say, wouldn't it be lovely though? I know you're talking about retirement and people, but I feel like we're here with a role to not, we get to our 50s, our 60s and 70s and see a different way of living, to have an impact on the younger generation coming through, whether they're in the 20s and 30s. And I look at my daughter and just realizing that they don't need to do what we were taught to do, or the belief system, having that impact and guiding them to come from passion from that day, that when they get to 60 or 70, it's never going to feel like they need to retire because they've never really worked in that modality. They're coming from a place of love and passion for what they can gift out. So
yeah,
I think a lot of people who say they can't wait until they finish working, they're because they were working for somebody else all their lives.
Yes.
They haven't worked for themselves, right?
Yeah.
So if you work for yourself, then it doesn't feel like work.
Yeah, so true. And I think so many people, and so many women, because they have dedicated themselves to contributing to putting a roof over their family's head, to bringing up their children, to co-creating an income. They often don't have the time and don't create the time to sit down and think, well, what does bring me joy? And often it's not until our children are grown that we sit down and go, okay, time for me now. So I think, as you say, Liz, a lot of these younger women now they're not even, they wouldn't even know what we have experienced, which I think is quite a good thing. But they do tend to know their passion. A lot of them do. So so that's an interesting way of looking at things. They don't have to do the work that we've had to do a lot of soul searching, digging to explore who we are, to become who we are being.
But if we can even educate, and you said, Susan, we're not humans having we're not souls having a human experience or whatever. Sorry, my mind's gone blank on that. I say it all the time. But if we can educate people and just know that we're not these, meat bodies that have just come in here, that we are something more, and to be able to re-tap into that and bring that forth and change the belief systems that we're in the middle of changing now, that we are something more than this, and it's not all that there is, and to be able to, that I think begins people to see that they are something more, so they can come into a passion and what lights them up, and that instead of just doing the old paradigm of thinking. So, just having that awareness of who we truly are and not what we're made to believe, I think is a great step in starting to change people's belief on what they need to do and what we have been doing.
Yeah.
I don't know that made sense, actually.
But and their capacity to fulfill their desires. Because
we all have a gift.
Yes.
Everyone on this planet has a gift, and we all have a great purpose. It's a matter of going into the wisdom of your body, because already the knowing is theirs, to find the right way to actually embrace that you already have embodied, if you like. And I say to people, we are human beings, so we live because we're humans, we sometimes live in the human part of ourselves, and that's where the disbeliefs and all the natter and the chatter is going on. So, but then then we have the being part, and that's when we tune in to who we really are and what is our gift. And if you have a gift, it's my I need to keep it to myself is one thing. I can do that, but if I can share that gift with others and be of service by sharing that gift with others, then that's my I need to do that. I want to do that. So yeah, but then you're going to go back into the humans sometimes, and you will have those thoughts about, no, this is not possible, or whatever it is that is stopping me. But that's the human speaking to you. So acknowledge that and said, okay, but I choose to go into the being part of myself right now, and that's where I want to be. We are beings. We're not doers. And then from that, when you realize that, taking action on that, and make sure you work in alignment with your true purpose and what it is that you want to create on this planet. And when we came together, myself, Kelly Kingston, and Tracy Horton, and it wasn't a planned thing, it dropped into us, or we dropped into each other, whichever we want to think about it. But then Kelly last year had her 50th birthday, and Tracy had her 60th birthday just before in December last year. And when we stood there, I was in the beginning of February, and I said, and I'm going to come into my 70s in a few weeks' time. And we said, okay, so 50, 60, and 70, that's 180 years of wisdom. What can we do with that? So that's how we, but that wisdom, sometimes wisdom comes from life experience that we have. And some of that wisdom, as I said, is already within us. So how did we bring that out? So the younger generation already have that wisdom within as well. So how do we access it? How do we listen to it?
So true. So true. So I think I was talking to Liz last week, and Liz was saying how she would love to help young women, teenage women, 12 to 19, to explore the wisdom of their bodies and their minds. So it's really interesting. So did you have a meeting this week, Liz, about that?
No, I was having a call this morning. I just noticed a message to reschedule that, so I haven't looked at that yet. So
okay.
Yeah.
So what would you love to do? What would you love to do with that? You were saying you're in Tasmania. There's a lot of young girls and women who are struggling?
I think it's really just restoring that remembrance of who we truly are. And I think it just starts with that. And I mean, if we can't remember who we are or see ourselves as something more than what we've been told, it's very hard to move through that. But if we can help people to um, restore the harmony between the body energy and the soul, and just remember who that is, we can help to bring that out instead of being in an old paradigm that it needs fixing or band-aiding it. It's really going into that deeper understanding, and that's what I would like to bring forth. But that's across all generations, but especially I think we were talking about the ones that are struggling, that are being in a system or there's nowhere for them to go because they are sensitives and they have a greater understanding. So to be able to restore that, and whether that be through my yoga, sound, vibration, energy healing. It's just really having to bring that out to see ourselves as different, not different, to see ourselves, remember who we truly are. So I'm not sure whether that explained it well, but I guess that's how I'm trying to delve in at the moment, and really just bringing my truth forth. If we've been on this journey to remember who I am, and it's been challenging with experience, very rewarding, but it's very difficult or challenging to break away all those cords and attachments of belief. So if we can help guide that from that place of remembrance to those, I guess that's what I'm looking at, however that forms.
Amazing.
And as a PE teacher, I worked with the younger generation, with the teenagers. Actually, in Sweden, I worked from the age of 6 up to 20 in schools. And I was only 20 myself, so that was an interesting journey to be part of it. But being a teenager is it's a challenging time of our life. Everything changes. The hormones are kicking in, and we're starting to become that woman, going from being a girl to becoming a woman. And when girls comes together at that age, they can be horrible to each other. It can be bitches to each other. And in today's world, we already have the influence of social media and how they see themselves from coming from all different aspects of life, if you like, and this is who I'm supposed to be in this world, which might not ring true, well, doesn't for me anyway. So then to be able to actually install that, as you said, Liz, that wisdom and the, who are we really as a woman? Now, it's interesting already then, and this is in the mid-70s, we incorporated you are down in the gymnasium, we were actually then did relaxation techniques with them and had them actually going from the activity into the quietness and listening in. So the more we can bring that part into the school system, that will be so beneficial. The earlier we start, the better it is. And it's the work that you do also, Margaret, for bringing the kids back in contact with nature. They completely lost it.
Yes.
As I said to somebody yesterday, I did my presentation in my business group yesterday. I said, I think we divorced Mother Nature and we need to remarry her.
Yes.
They don't they eat chips, but they don't know what a potato looks like, and they don't know how it comes to be.
Yeah. So true. So true. But I think we are, I think the world is flipping now. I think it's great. I think as the old systems are breaking down, I think it's creating this space for new ideas. And it's not new ideas. It's bringing the beautiful older ideas, wrapping them up in a modern way of delivery. And I think we're going to change the world, girls.
It is changing, yeah.
It is. It's amazing.
It is changing, and that's what WOW is all about, because women in this world are realizing it's time to step up, and it's time to create the voices and to be heard.
Yes.
And what we came to realize, we can't do it on our own. So WOW has been something that Kelly, who is the visionary behind it all, it's not a new thing. So she's been seeing this, she's been dreaming about this, but she also knows we can't do it on our own. And the three of us, we can't do it on our own either. So we are bringing in women into the collective to be there, to collaborate with each other and support each other on the journey, so that our voices are being heard, and they can step up into the lives that we're supposed to live rather than not.
Yeah.
It's also interweaved, isn't it? When you were just talking then, even me doing the chakra alignments, energy healing, the sound, the vibration, the drumming, that's activating all these things that we've forgotten while you're bringing forth. I'm just seeing all these threads with all we're talking about. It's all there. I mean, just even being able to stop and listen to those sounds and vibrations for our body to remember who we truly are. And then the work that you're bringing forth to then carry them out into the world. It's just this magic silver thread. Just it's amazing. You can do all different things, but they're also aligned, same but different.
Absolutely. Even listen to Tesla, said, it's all about vibrations and energy in this world. So in the end of the day, it's all about energy, right? Whatever we use, we talk about money, it's a source of energy. Talk about, moving. And we need to move. That's one of the things I realized. People need to move. How can we do that? We don't move, the vibrations get stuck and stagnated. It's like Kelly said the other day, you're stuck. You're not living, but you're just stuck where you are. So how can we shift that? So we shift that with energy vibrations, wherever, and the sound healing and the movement and all the things that we do will help with that.
And the basics is your nature, getting your feet back on the ground. The grass, so simple, connection, as you were saying.
Yeah. I mean, I took a trip back to Sweden in August, September last year. And I did it on my own. I said to my husband, "Oh, maybe I could come a little bit later." And I said, "No, I don't want you to come, actually," which was good because I could immerse myself in being the Swedish person that I am and reconnect with my culture, my people, my friends, and with Mother Nature, because I grew up with Mother Nature. We lived very much according to Mother Nature. And I probably hated my parents for it sometimes when they asked me to go out in the back garden and dig up potatoes, but I loved eating them. And I'm very grateful that they took me through that process. But Mother Nature has so much to give. And we could see when COVID happened how Mother Nature actually came back. She recuperated some of that. So, it's a reason for everything on this planet. But and that's what I realized, to bring people back to the basics and to live with the basics and reconnect with the wisdom that we have out there in the world, the energies we have around us, and learn to live with the rhythms of the energies that surrounds us, as well as acknowledging and embody those rhythms within us, because they do live within us. We all know that.
Absolutely. And I think once, right, like groups like you have, groups like I have, groups like Liz has, once they generate out energy, and we do live in a collective consciousness. So the great thing is that generates out into the world and radiates out into the world, and change can happen really rapidly, I believe. And I think that's what we're beginning to see, which is so wonderful. And collaboration. I mean, that's what my nature work wise is all around. We're bringing on board so many different therapists and teachers to collaborate on programs, and it's in collaboration, and it's in cooperation, and it's in connection that we all reconnect to beautiful Mother Nature. So yes, so I think those tears when my work currently is with like from 3 to 12, and just reconnecting them, plugging them back in is great. I would like to blow up the whole education system.
Yeah, that'd be good.
It's imploding
had
anyway.
A conversation. It wasn't my own conversation, but one lady, she came back and she said it was interesting because these young kids had met their grandparents and they told about their background, and we didn't have the mobile phones and the computers and the TVs and all of that, and the kids back there said, I feel so sorry for my grandparents. They didn't have anything to do when they grow up. So, yeah, well, We didn't have those things, but we had Mother Nature.
So true, is it? Poor, that's what I used to get.
Played hide and seek in the forest.
Yeah, poor Nan. Poor Nan. She didn't.
We crossed countries to get to school because there wasn't a bus that picked those up.
So
yeah,
true.
it's interesting, isn't it?
Oh, it is. It's fascinating. Oh my gosh, you'll never believe it. We're exactly on 30 minutes.
Now, I have a question for you before you go.
Yes.
Can I ask you a question?
Yeah.
Where did the name Two Tarts come from? I got to the coffee shop around the corner. It's called, shall I meet you a tart? Yeah, well, it's like a tart that I eat, consume, right? And here I'm sitting with two tarts.
Yeah, when we were first talking about this, it was, here's Liz sitting up in
Sonuna,
little
Guatemala.
In Guatemala on the top of this mountain, and here was me sitting here, and we were talking, and Liz goes, we're going to do something together. And okay. And she goes, we're going to do a podcast together. So it's like, okay. Then within less than a month, she was ringing me, can I come around for coffee? She'd landed back on, back here in Queensland.
Yeah.
And as she was saying, she follows her intuition. She follows the guidance that she is given. And so then we got together and we started talking, all right, we'll have to get this podcast going. And then we wanted to have really deep and interesting conversations that might help move people, but definitely would move us. And just things that we were really interested in. But we didn't want to make it real, like deep and stodgy. And so that's how we were kind of trying to come up with something that was quite light. And we came up with, it's called, we're just two tarts. So, and it was funny because when my daughters, I told them, they were, oh my God, oh no, you can't do that. Yeah, I can.
Watch me, she said.
But it's it keeps that lightness.
Yeah, but it's just lighthearted.
Yeah. Cool. So that's how
take it too seriously.
And you're collaborating and bringing it to life, so that's wonderful.
Yes,
yeah, and that's coming back to why that's what it's all about. You said I'm an author, so this is my latest book. So this is called My Body and Me. So when I do coaching, that becomes Your Body and You, and following the guidelines in there with my guidance, if you like, WOW is evolving, so I will run my business within WOW, and other women can come in and run their business within WOW with the support and the collective being there to support them. So, now from the pre-launch, I was very happy to see you at, Margaret. We are moving forward. So every week we do information sessions, and Margaret has been on a couple of those already. So they're Wednesday nights online on Zoom at 7:00. And then the next step, face-to-face. So we will have a breakfast meeting. So the first breakfast meeting is going to be on the 20th of June. And it looks very likely that we're going to be in the same environment. We liked SeaWorld and the environment that they have there to offer. And they're very ready to collaborate with us as well. So
awesome.
So those are going to come into fruition very soon.
That's great. It's also WOW's going to be launched as a business model globally in
Absolutely.
June, July.
Well, we'll see. It's all evolving, and one thing for sure is change always happens, right? So we'll get more information about when that bigger launch is happening.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right.
Because we have so much interest from various people in different countries around the world now. So the global change might happen quicker than we thought.
Yeah.
It's amazing what momentum does.
I know, right?
Isn't it? And I think people, women especially, can feel it. They can feel that desire and pull inside of them, like, oh, I want some of that, you know, and to know that it can all be in collaboration is great. When we put this up, I'll put your details. How do people get in touch with you, Susanne?
So they can email, and I have a website, so they can connect me through the website as well.
So the website is
SusanneRidolphi.com.
There you go.
Easy, that one.
It is. Lovely.
Very simple.
Well, thank you very much. It has been very enlightening and very light and
inspiring.
Inspiring, yes, yeah. You're an amazing woman, Susanne, and it's been an absolute pleasure to talk with you.
Well, thank you. I'm very honored to be part of this. So thank you very much for inviting me. And yes, to be inspiring and being of service is that's my purpose on this planet. So if I can be that, Margaret, then I reach my goal and my intentions.
And you're already doing it.
And lovely. I think the theme to end this on is that age is no barrier. And I think
it's
that's
no barrier
what we
at all.
Wonderful.
Some people say age is just a number, and I said, well, it's a little bit more than that, but it certainly isn't a barrier.
Yeah,
everything is
absolutely.
Possible.
Absolutely.
Wonderful.
Thank you, ladies. It was a pleasure to be here. Have a beautiful day.
Thank you. Okay.
Thank you. Okay.
You take care.